Awesome. Bringing on my next guest, Hunter Forbes, Jacksonville University, PLL Chrome out of Woodstock, Georgia. How you doing today, Hunter?
Doing good, Ian. How are you?
Good. So we're just going to get right into it. How did you start playing lacrosse?
I started back in eighth grade. My best friend Duncan Morris, grew up with him. I had to join a sport. My parents told me so. He told me I should come out and play lacrosse with him and his buddies one time, just a little pickup, and I really liked it. So I ended up signing up for the rec program that was happening that spring, and then just the rest is history. Just kept on going. Really enjoyed it.
Awesome. So then, did you go to Woodstock, the public school in Woodstock?
Yep, Woodstock High School.
So then from there, what led you to Jacksonville?
Um, I wasn't really heavily recruited by a bunch of places. I was looking at a bunch of, D2, D3 schools. Um, I decided to go down to Under Armour South tryouts going into, I think, my senior, like right after my junior year ended, so pretty late. And that's where I got noticed by one of the coaches from JU, and took a tour, loved it, kind of kept my options open, but I ended up committing just right before my senior year started.
Awesome. And for those who don't know, it's kind of a right around the normal track. So no means behind the schedule. Maybe for a D1 at that time, but for the other schools you're looking at, that's right on par with everything. So kind of transitioning from the high school game in Georgia to the SoCon type of competition. How was that the difference in kind of translating your ability?
Yeah, it's interesting because my freshman year I was out with an injury for most of the season to the very end. But just like throughout college, going from high school to college in general, I think it's a it's a bit of a transition for a lot of guys because you go from being the best player on your team at your position or just the best player in your team in general to a team where everyone was the best player on their team. And I think that goes for a lot of college teams, especially in Division One. So that's a bit of a transition. You have to learn how to be more of a team player. You can't do it all yourself like you maybe were able to in high school. Um, but I mean, I thought it was a fun transition. Your life pretty much becomes all about lacrosse, and if you really love lacrosse, it's a pretty awesome experience to be a part of.
So then I guess really starting to get on the field sophomore year, how did that look for you? Did you kind of win the job in fall ball, or did that just kind of, was it a spring transition to playing?
Um, so between my freshman and sophomore year, the face-off guy who was taking most of the draws my freshman year, Sam Rosengarten, transferred out. He transferred to Providence. Um, so I had a decent idea that I could be the guy going into my sophomore year. And then I guess just kind of throughout fall and throughout the spring, I just kind of solidified that starting spot.
Awesome. And then, well, from there it was history. You've literally,
Yeah.
according to your bio, hold almost every single record in SoCon throughout the rest of your career playing, and even played into grad school while maintaining a crazy high GPA. I think in your MBA program your last year was like I think 4.40. Is that right?
Yeah. My undergrad was just shy of 4.0. Got a couple A minuses my freshman year that I wish I could have taken care of. But yeah, JU has a great online 1 year MBA. So because of AP credits, I was able to graduate a year early. So I was able to use that fourth year of eligibility to use that the online 1 year MBA program, which just worked out really well. And I was also able to work remotely at the time for Black Knight, a company that I ended up working for post graduation. But it was just a really good situation overall. It seemed like lacrosse was kind of becoming my full-time job at that point, and I really enjoyed it.
So now with the spring cancellation last year, more people are going to be looking to possibly pursue a graduate degree while using their extra year of eligibility. Is there anything you can talk about kind of managing both of those things?
Yeah, so grad programs are, they're a bit harder than undergrad a lot of times, and sometimes a bit more workload, but not really in the form of busy work that sometimes undergrad classes have, where it's just getting it done. It requires a little more comprehension and kind of thought going into it. So you just kind of have to be real well structured in how you use your time. So maybe like once you get up for the day and you maybe have a morning workout, you got to really cut out some time to focus on school, or if you're working, focus on your work and just kind of be real um, time conscious and not be napping all day or playing video games all day. You kind of have order of priorities to get things done, and to make sure you can still operate on the field.
Just kind of going back to the field for that senior year, when you really had a big change in your kind of face-off style that has really helped. At least I thought it helped watching some of your
Yeah.
games. You switched from which was traditional, the knee down motorcycle grip, to I would call unorthodox knee down neutral grip, which I really haven't seen anyone do besides yourself. Can you talk about kind of why you made that change and how you went to it?
Yeah, throughout my senior fall season, I was still moto grip. I was kind of just, I thought I was doing all right, but I thought it could be a little bit quicker. I think cadence recognition and like quick hands are what I do best. So if I thought I could be quicker, I was trying to mess around with what I could change to, become the best I could be. I kind of just started trying out some neutral grip with my buddies back in Georgia that I would practice with, a bunch of really talented face-off guys that go to a variety of Division 1 and 2 and 3 schools. So I started practicing with them. I started to really like it, and then come spring, I just stuck with it and kind of I tweaked it as I've gone along, and I think I've gotten better since I first switched to neutral grip with how I'm doing it. But I think overall, it was a good change, and it just kind of helped me unlock the quickness that I thought I was capable of.
Awesome. So you talk about the cadence recognition. What would you kind of tell someone who maybe didn't really know about lacrosse or face-offs, how that kind of works when you use that?
Yeah, so in a college game, there's 3 refs. Um, Usually per quarter, per half, it's between 2 refs that are calling each face-off, and then they'll rotate either by the quarter or by the half, and then it's 2 more, probably one of the same from the previous one. And they're all going to have slightly different cadences on the whistle. So when they go down, set, and then there's a pause before that whistle comes and before the face-off guys can move. Um, that pause is the cadence. So um, I think a lot of what it takes to be a great face-off guy is at the beginning of the game, everyone's on the same page. You don't really know what the ref's going to do or how his cadence is going to be. You have to, just go with the flow and react as best you can. And then as the game goes on, I thought I did a decent job of recognizing which ref was up, remembering what cadence he kind of had, how long his pauses were, and then being able to not time the whistle, but kind of, an educated
Anticipate.
anticipation. Yeah, anticipation of the whistle. Something I do for face-off guys that I like to coach on a lot is when the ref says set, I like to start. And it's weird, but I think that helps me learn cadence a lot because it's not just a audio cue of when the whistle's going to come, but it's also may know one ref has I'm almost out of breath before he blows the whistle. So when I'm exhaling, I know, okay, not out of breath yet, whistle's not coming. And then some refs, I barely even start exhaling before the whistle comes. So I think it's like another cue that helps me, anticipate the whistle a little better.
You continued your career at Jacksonville with lacrosse, but instead of playing, through the coaching route. Can you talk about how you kind of came to that?
Yeah, so after my last year playing at JU, I had a job in the city. I was a financial analyst, um, which I loved, or I didn't love, I would say. It was a good job to have for a good company and a good manager. But I still want to stay involved in lacrosse. I missed JU a lot, so I came on as a volunteer assistant late in the fall. I would work during the day at Black Knight in the city, and then after work, I would drive to JU for practice and go travel with them on weekend games and stuff. And that was a good time. Near the end of the season, May of 2019, I really realized how much I liked coaching. But I also kind of was realizing that doing both at the same time of working and coaching was taking a toll on me. I was gone from 6 a.m. till 8 p.m. most days from getting up early to go to work so I could get off early to go to JU practice and then finally getting home at night. So I talked to Coach Galloway, and he was really helpful and more than willing to let me come on as a graduate assistant. And the reason I did that was just because once I re-enrolled in school, I was able, to pause my student loan, so I didn't have to worry about all the bills to pay if I wouldn't have a job. So it kind of worked out really well for me. And so in the 2019 to 2020 season, I came on as a graduate assistant, just full time at the school, and that was a lot of fun.
What
Learned a
was
lot.
your second degree?
I'm currently finishing up my master's of sports management.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
Not a lot of people can have that academic resume along with the playing side of things. So obviously
Yeah,
the relationship
definitely.
with Coach Galloway has helped a little bit, at least going into the pro ranks. You joined the PLL Chrome a few weeks ago, and now you are adding the PLL bubble, or PLL Island as some people are calling it. And Coach Galloway is now your teammate instead of your coach. He's the goalie on the Chrome. So how is that relationship kind of, is it changed at all, kind of being teammates now? But I guess being on the same coaching staff is kind of similar.
Yeah, saying he's helped out a little is definitely an understatement.
Yeah.
I mean, he's been incredible um, for me throughout this whole process, from me being his player to one of his coaches on his staff to now being his teammate. Um, he's really willing to go to bat for his guys, like he did for me, and it shows. I I can speak for numerous alumni who he's helped find jobs or just given advice to, that he really does a great job um, looking after his own. And then as far as the transition's gone, I think it definitely helped that I coached for him for 2 years. He was my boss and everything. Um, but that was it was kind of like a half and half transition. I went from him being my boss as a coach to being my boss as my boss, and
Mhm.
then now being my teammate. The goalie is kind of the boss of the defense, but kind of like just the position that brings everyone together. So it's another kind of easy transition, and he makes it really easy. He doesn't he jokes around with me.
Mhm.
He doesn't make, like, it's not awkward or anything. So I'm really lucky to have that.
Awesome. And then I guess more with the Chrome. You are now ahead of a two-headed monster with big Connor Farrell. Um,
Hmm.
how has that been in at least the training? We get some glimpses of it on Instagram and stuff like that. How has that been? Kind of, he's definitely a big guy.
Yeah, I think it's been awesome. Connor's a really nice guy. He's awesome. He's a good teammate. Um, that's one of the more surprise. It can be awkward, coming in sometimes, especially me being the new guy. It's like, um, it might be like, oh, you coming in, take my spot. No, it's not like that between the two of us. I think we have a really good relationship, and we just both want what's best for the team. Training with him has been great. He's definitely the strongest I've gone against, I think, ever in my career. But it's good to press against that, because then when game time comes tomorrow night, and then the future games after that, um, I don't think it'll be any stronger than he is. So getting used to that and just competing against each other during practice is kind of getting us both dialed in for the real deal coming up.
Definitely. Are the new rules that, because compared to college, the PLL faceoff rules are different? Are
Hmm.
those, has it been a hard transition to those, or has it been relatively simple?
Yeah, it's not too hard of a transition. You gotta line up with the ball further up your stick, which is a little different, but that's just a matter of getting used to driving down the line a little more. Um, I really like how smooth the PLL rules are. It's pretty quick from when you get out there to when the whistle blows. You're not waiting too long. You're not down there in your stance for too long anticipating. But yeah, it hasn't been too bad. I think neutral grip actually helps with the down the line portion. So I'm feeling pretty good about it.
Definitely. Um, well, you mentioned big game coming up tomorrow night. Chaos, I think.
Yep.
Yes, against
Yep.
the Chaos. I think it's on NBC Sports. Um, are, can you describe your excitement for that? You're being on a big stage,
Yeah.
national television, and then just the first game of this hopefully illustrious pro career.
Yeah. Yeah, it's hard to describe the excitement. I think, and one of the things that makes it so exciting is being with all the guys on the team. Uh, it's really cool to be a part of a team again where everyone is so committed and passionate about the game. You get that in college. You might get that a little less in high school. So every step in your career, you get a little more and more commitment to the game from your teammates. And I think this illustrates that perfectly. I think everyone on this team's here for one goal in, that's to win it all. And it's really cool to be a part of that process, and really excited just to be sharing the field with my teammates.
So last year, the Chrome didn't fare too well against opponents. They came in last in the PLL in the regular season, but then missed out on that top draft pick, which the PLL has a different series of determining the top draft pick. It's like a play-in. So even if you come in last
Hmm.
compared to other leagues, you wouldn't get the first pick. Is there kind of an acknowledgement and kind of like an us versus everybody else mentality on the team?
I think a little bit. I think, our team this year is different than the team they had last year. Um, new coaching staff, a lot of new faces, and I think the current team this year is really embracing that. I think, um, we're fine with people, not thinking the best of us and down us because we know what we have this year is something special, and I think we're all just really excited to show the world that.
Awesome. And I guess kind of continuing on the neutral grip rules, uh, yesterday the NCAA Rules Committee affirmed their choice to go with a stand-up only neutral grip face-offs for the NCAA rules. Did you have any thoughts about that change?
A little bit. I can feel for the guys that are have frustrations with the rule change. Especially guys that were seniors in high school, especially who are going to become freshmen in college. That transition can already be challenging enough, and now there's a whole nother loop to go through for them. But I think that hopefully there will be a fall ball where people can adjust and test this out. But I think in the long term, um, uh, the most talented kids are going to make the adjustments that are needed, and not only the most talented, actually more so, the kids that work the hardest are going to be able to make those adjustments that are needed, and they're going to reap the benefits of it.
In the article the USA Lacrosse put out about their announcement, one of the people on the committee suggested that the main reason for the rule change was to kind of eliminate lockups. Did you feel in college there was an excessive amount of lockups, or did you think that changing this rule will kind of solve that problem? Or is it just kind of throwing a solution at a dartboard and hoping it sticks?
Yeah, that's a good question. I think the majority of lockups, like let's say like the median amount of lockup time or the median amount of
Mm-hmm.
lockups per game will be lower with this new rule set. I still think there is the possibility of lockups. I mean, I had a few times my senior year as a neutral grip that were over a minute long. But then again, I was on my knee, to be fair, and so was the opponent. So I think there will be a few lockups still, but I actually do agree that I think there will be less.
Awesome. Yeah, it'd be interesting to see what happens, especially where there really hasn't been a lot of examples of neutral grip on neutral grip. Just kind of personally trying to find film of that. The only thing I could ever find of it was a little bit of Jake Withers versus John Garino in college, and
Yeah,
that's like
yeah, that's actually a
period.
really good matchup too to
Yeah,
watch.
yeah, and well, one of the people you're going to see this season, I think, Jake Withers. Did you ever go against him in college? Just kind of talking neutral grip.
Yeah, I went against him my junior year before I had made the switch.
Uh-huh.
Um, he's just very talented after the climb. I mean, he's good at the climb. I'm not saying he's not, of
Yeah.
course, but I think what really sets him apart is his skills outside the initial phase of the face-off. His ground ball skills, his just lats IQs is pretty impressive. Um, and then I think watching that Greeno versus Withers game is, like you said, a great example of two standing neutral good guys going after it. And I think a lot of young guys could benefit from watching Greeno in particular. I remember watching him my first couple years of college, especially in I think their national championship game. He
Mhm.
won. He might
Yeah.
have won MVP of the national championship game if I'm
Hmm.
remembering correctly.
I believe so.
He was very talented at it, so I definitely encourage some guys to check his game footage out if they're looking for the right course of action, how to do this.
100%. Is there one person you're kind of looking to go against or looking forward to in this PLL round robin type deal?
Um, I've thought about that over the past couple of weeks, and it's cool to go. It'd be cool to go against so and so or so and so. Like I really look up to Nardella, and I've worked with him. He's a great guy. He's a good friend of mine. So it'd be cool to go against him. Be cool against to go a lot of the guys on the league, but especially as we draw closer, I'm really just more focused on one game at a time. So now I'm
Awesome.
just really pumped to go against Tommy Kelly, and I know Connor shares that, and I think we're just really excited to just get this thing rolling.
100%. I love that. Love that attitude. Thank you so much for coming on, Hunter. Where can people find you on social media?
I'm on Instagram at just Hunter Forbes, and then Twitter. I just made a Twitter a month ago, so I'm not too active on it, but I think it's HForbesy with a Y 24.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Hunter. Good luck to
Awesome.
tomorrow night.
Thank you, Ian. Have a good one.